Hello and welcome to today's lesson on converting measures of liquids. So the learning goal, I want you to be able to convert common measures of liquids between metric and imperial systems. So this is going to be somewhat new because we didn't cover these types of conversions in the grade 9 course. And you do have a conversion chart. So the conversion chart, these are the ones that are going to be provided, and we'll make an enlargement to put up on the wall as an anchor chart. But the conversion tables give us a ratio, okay? So they're providing us with a ratio. And this ratio then can be used to help convert. So they provide us with a ratio. With a ratio. All right. So if you look at them, we see that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, so it's 1 to 2.54. We see that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, so it's 1 to 2.2. So that's how that chart works for us. So let's look at a couple of examples as we go through. So the example is at the bottom of the page, and we're going to refer to this chart. So we want to convert the following as indicated. So we want to go from PT, and now that's pints. So maybe I'll list that off to the side for us. So just as a bit of a legend here, PT is pints, so that's an imperial measure of liquid. We also see what are some of the other ones there. An ounce is also listed. So that's our OZ. So that's an ounce, and it's just a measure, um, a liquid measure in the imperial system. We also have GAL for gallons. All right, so they are just different terms. Now, in the metric system, we have liters, we have milliliters, and those are really the common ones. We don't have any other ones, whereas the imperial system uses pints, ounces, and gallons fairly regularly. So anyway, this first conversion that we're looking at here. So we want to go from 9 pints to a cup. So what we do is we find pints to cups in our equivalent chart here, and it's right here. Uh, we have 1 cup is half a pint. So what I would recommend until you get comfortable with this is you set it up as a ratio. So I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to go zero point 0.5 pints, PT, to 1 cup. And that's just because it matches with our question here. We're looking for 9 pints to how many cups. So we're looking for that unknown. So using our process is we take the number that's by itself and divide it by its corresponding or partner. So we do 9 divided by zero point 0.5, and we end up with 18. Our second step then is to take our answer from there, and we multiply it by the other number, so it's 1. So we do end up with 18. So 9 pints is the equivalent to 18 cups as our final answer. So you will have to do some of this rough work down below here. This is going to be something that you're going to get quicker with as you go through, but I would recommend going through and showing this process until you get comfortable with it. And some people might be using this all the way through. So the next example that I have here, I have 24 quarts, QT, quarts, and that's going to gallons. So we're looking at the imperial equivalents. That's what we're looking at. And we're looking for QTs to gallons, quarts to gallons. And do we have one? And we do. We have it right there. So 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So I'm going to set it up the same way. I'm going to take this base ratio and I'm going to put quarts first just because that's what our question's asking. So that's where I'm going to start, and I'm going to say, okay, so 4 quarts is the equivalent of 1 gallon. That ratio is going to be equal to, well, I have 24 quarts, and I'm going to compare it to gallons. So I need to find that unknown. Again, the first term is the ones that match up, so we take the one that's by itself. So step number 1, 24 divided by its partner, 4, so we end up with 6. Our second step then, 6 multiplied by the remaining value, which is 1. So we get 6. So therefore, 24 quarts is the equivalent of 6 gallons. Okay. A couple of other examples here. I just want to go through and give you enough examples that you feel comfortable making those conversions. So on this page, I have cups to ounces, cups to ounces. Now I got to go back to this chart, and you can follow the video, but stay on here. So we're looking for cups to ounces. Now when I'm looking through all of my values here, the only cup reference that I have is this one right here. And that's only going to take me to pints. So I'm going to have to do probably 2 stages for this one. So the first stage, and again, it's 1 cup to half a pint. So as I start over here then, I'm going to set that ratio up. So I know that, oops, 1 cup, oops, 2, back that up. So 1 cup to 0.5 of a pint, PT. So that's going to equal, well, I have 21 cups. So how many pints will that provide me? So if I go through my process here, I take the number that's by itself, so 21, and, oops, do that. And here we have, it's the first term, so we divide it by the first term over here. So we end up with 21 divided by 1, so that's 21. Our second step then is to take that answer and multiply it by our last term, so that's 0.5. So half of 21 would give me 10.5. So I have 10.5 pints. We want ounces. So do we have pints in ounces? And when we go over here, we are looking for PTs and ounces. And does it exist? Do we see pints and ounces? Now, as I look through here, I realize it's not on my conversion chart. So I will tell you, and this is something I'm going to have to add to that chart. So I'm going to make sure I have all these on the anchor. But 1 pint PT is equal to 16 ounces. See, they have up here, this is a mass. We're not worried about mass, we're doing liquid. So 1 pint is 16 ounces. So I will add that to the conversion table. So going back over here then, if I know that 1 pint, and I'm going to have to work off to the side here, I know that 1 PT, 1 pint, is the equivalent of 16 ounces. Well, right now I have 10.5 pints, so 10.5 pints, and I want to know how many ounces does that give me. Same process, so this one is a longer question. So you take the 10.5, and it's the first term, so it matches up with this one. So we divide it by 1, and we end up with 10.5 as our factor. So now we take the 10.5, and we multiply it by the remaining number, which is 16. And we end up with 168, I believe. So 168 ounces. So our final answer is 21 cups would result in 168 ounces. All right. So moving along, so that's a harder one when it doesn't match up exactly. The next one has gallons and pints. So I'm looking at gallons to PT. So again, not gonna help us out here a whole lot. It's got quarts. So 9 gallons. So it looks like we're gonna have to do another multi-step one because we can go gallons to quarts, and then from there we gotta go quarts to pints. So it's going to take 2 stages again here. So 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So over here, oops, so we know that 1 gallon for every 4 quarts, that's equal to, I have 9 gallons. and I'm looking for it in terms of quarts at this stage. So off to the side here, the 9 will get divided by corresponding number, which is 1. So 9, we take that number, we multiply it by the one that's left. So that's 4. And we got 36. So that means I have 36 quarts. On the other page, then going back, we see that 1 quart has 2 pints. So now my new one is 1 quart has 2 pints. And I know that I actually have 36 quarts. So how many pints will I have? So off to the side, we take the 36, the number that's by itself, divided by its corresponding value, which is 1. So that's 36. We take the 36 and we multiply it by the remaining one, which is 2. And 36 times 2 is 72. So 9 gallons is 72 pints. All right, a couple other quick examples, and I'm not sure I'm going to get through them all, but what I will do is have them worked out for you for your final note, so you have them in front of you. So let's go 30 ounces to milliliters. So now we're going from imperial to metric. So we look for ounces to milliliters, and where is our liquids? Now, as I look through the chart, and it's one of those things that you think you have everything covered, but you don't. We are missing that particular conversion. So I know that 1 ounce, and we're going to have to make sure this gets on to um, anchor chart so you have it for future use. That 1 ounce is 29.6 milliliters, so we'll have to make that adjustment on that anchor chart, make sure it's there for us. So we know that in this particular question then, the ratio that's on our conversion chart is what we know that 1 ounce for every 29.6 milliliters. And that would be equal to, well, we know we have 30 ounces, and we want to know how many milliliters. So we take the number that's by itself, so that's stage 1, 30, divided by its matching or corresponding value. So 30 divided by 1 will give us 30. Second step is to take that value 30 and multiply it by our missing, or the last value, which is the 29.6. So using our calculator, we get that 30 times 29.6 is 888. 888. So 888 milliliters. That gives us our final answer, 888 milliliters. Okay, so there's a couple other conversions here left. I'm going to work them out for you so you have them in your note and you'll see that in front of you. But it gives you a feel for all the ones that you're going to be working through. You're going to get quicker with it, obviously, and you're going to find shortcuts, but you want to make sure that you have the basics down on your foldable so that when it comes to a test and you haven't done it in a while, you can figure out what the process was. So please keep that in mind as you're working through these particular homework questions. If you have any questions, make sure you do ask so I can clarify.